In 1993, Toyota entered a secret gentleman's agreement with other Japanese automakers to hide the true power of an engine they were about to release. They stamped it with 276 horsepower on the spec sheet, sold it across Japan, and quietly shipped a cast-iron monster that could handle 3 times that number without flinching. 30 years later, that same engine, pulled from a rusted-out Supra in a junkyard, sells for more than a brand-new crate motor from the dealership. Mechanics are paying $10,000 to $15,000 for blocks that came in cars worth almost nothing. And it's not just Toyota. Working tradesmen are abandoning brand-new diesel pickups to restore 30-year-old Cummins engines into older frames. Tuners are paying premium prices for braided steel cables that haven't been manufactured in decades. So what's actually going on? The answer is something the auto industry has spent 20 years burying. Once you understand what they took away, you'll never look at a modern dealership the same way again. Number 1. The Gentleman's Agreement Goldmine. In the early 1990s, Japan had a problem. Street racing was exploding across Tokyo and Osaka, so the major Japanese automakers sat down and made a private pact, the Gentleman's Agreement. No factory car would advertise more than 276 horsepower. Here's where it gets interesting. The engineers did not actually design weaker engines. They built massive, over-engineered cast-iron blocks designed far beyond what the spec sheet claimed, then restricted them at the factory with conservative turbos and conservative fuel maps. On paper, 276 horsepower. In reality, a sleeping monster. The Toyota 2JZ is the most famous example. Tuners discovered you could swap in a bigger turbo, tune the fuel system, and unlock close to 1,000 horsepower from the same block, all without breaking it. Modern engines cannot do this. Today's manufacturers use lightweight aluminum blocks designed for fuel economy. Push a modern aluminum block past its rated output by 30%, and the cylinder walls can literally crack apart. That is why a used 2JZ block pulled from a Toyota with 200,000 miles on it sells for $15,000 on eBay right now. Number 2. The unkillable diesel loophole. Walk onto any construction site in America. The newest, shiniest trucks aren't doing the work. They're parked, waiting on warranty claims. The trucks doing the work are 25 to 30 years old. The modern diesel pickup is an emissions nightmare. It needs diesel exhaust fluid. It has a particulate filter that clogs and burns itself clean during regeneration cycles. It has an EGR valve that coats the intake in carbon, and it has hundreds of sensors, each one a potential repair bill in the thousands. The 1990s 12-valve Cummins, found in Dodge Ram pickups from 1989 through 1998, has none of this. It's purely mechanical. The fuel is delivered by a Bosch P7100 injection pump, hardware so durable that mechanics call it the rotary phone of diesel engines. There are documented cases of 12-valve Cummins engines running on used cooking oil from a restaurant fryer. The engine doesn't know the difference because it doesn't have a computer to complain to. Right now, owners are abandoning modern $85,000 diesel trucks and spending a fortune to restore or swap 30-year-old mechanical Cummins engines into older frames. They're willingly trading a brand new pickup for the chance to drive an engine that was built before emissions software existed. That's how broken the modern diesel market is. Number 3. The analog throttle premium. If you've driven a car built in the last 15 years, you've noticed a tiny delay between pushing the gas pedal and the car actually accelerating. It's not the transmission, it's the computer running your gas pedal. Modern vehicles use drive-by-wire. When you press the accelerator, you're not opening the throttle. You're sending a digital signal to the car's computer, which evaluates it against traction control, stability control, emissions targets, and fuel economy mode, then decides how much air to let in. Your foot is a controller asking permission. Cars built before roughly 1998 used a literal braided steel cable running from the gas pedal directly to the throttle body. When you pressed the pedal, the cable pulled the throttle open. Instant, mechanical, unfiltered. If this video is hitting home, hit that subscribe button. Truck Guide breaks down planned obsolescence scams the dealership won't tell you about every single week. Drivers who grew up on 90s cars describe modern vehicles as driving with oven mitts on. They can feel the computer in the way. That's why fully restored 1990s Miatas, Civics, and Integras with original throttle cables sell for 2 to 3 times their original price today. Buyers aren't paying for nostalgia, they're paying for the unfiltered connection the industry quietly stopped making. Number 4. The ECU Jailbreak Rebellion. When you buy a modern car, you don't actually own all of it. You own the metal, the seats, and the tires. But the brain of the car, the engine control unit, belongs to the manufacturer. Modern ECU units are protected by heavy encryption and update themselves over the air. If you modify the software, the car detects the change. In documented cases involving Tesla, Ford, and General Motors, manufacturers have remotely disabled vehicles or revoked features over the network because owners installed unauthorized parts or attempted modifications. Cars built before 1996, before the OBD2 standard, used what tuners call open computers. No encryption, no remote access. If you wanted to change how the engine ran, you could unplug the factory ECU and bolt in an aftermarket standalone unit from Haltech or AEM, then rewrite every parameter. Fuel curves, ignition timing, boost targets, rev limits, all of it under your control. That's why an old Nissan 240SX or an early Mazda RX-7 has become what builders call a blank canvas. You actually own the hardware, in a way that's becoming impossible with anything built after 2010. Number 5. The Limp mode, extortion. There is a feature in your modern car the dealership does not put in the brochure. It is called Limp mode. If you have never experienced it, give it time. Limp mode activates when the computer detects an abnormal sensor reading. Maybe an oxygen sensor failed. Maybe the diesel exhaust fluid is slightly low. The vehicle violently restricts your engine output, sometimes capping your speed at a crawl on the highway with your family in the car. Here is the trap. The dealership can weaponize a $30 sensor failure, holding your car in limp mode until you pay hundreds in diagnostic fees, and sometimes thousands more, for overcomplicated software recalibrations. The proprietary equipment to talk to the car only exists at authorized service centers. The car is yours. You paid for it, and it has decided to hold itself hostage. A 1990s vehicle physically cannot do this. If an oxygen sensor fails on a 1996 Honda Accord, the engine runs slightly rich, you notice your gas mileage drop, and the car keeps going. It gets you home. It gets your wife to the hospital. The engineers who designed the car never imagined locking the owner out of their own vehicle. This is the real reason 1990s parts are selling for thousands right now. It is a rebellion against the idea that a car should actively work against the person who paid for it. Every part on that list, the cast iron Toyota block, the mechanical Cummins, the steel throttle cable, the open ECU, the forgiving sensors, share one thing. They were built during a window when engineers were allowed to make machines that worked instead of machines that obeyed. That window closed around 2003. If this hit home, you know what to do. Subscribe to Truck Guide. We dig up the lemon years, blacklist the planned obsolescence engineering, and help you find the trucks built before the dealership turned your vehicle into a subscription service. We will see you in the next one.